everybody. I am Burgandi Phoenix.
And I'm Govind Kumar.
And you are watching The Curve, brought to you by
Casting Frontier.
You guys, today we have a really special guest with us today. Today we have Stuart K. Robinson, who is the CEO of BBR Talent, a motivational speaker, a writer, a songwriter, a producer, a dancer, a performer. He's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Thank you both. Yeah, I always start out by saying, when back in my day, back in the old days, people would ask me what I do, and I would say I'm a writer, director, producer, actor, casting director, composer, singer, et cetera, et cetera. And they'd say, no, you got to pick one.
Yeah.
Because you'll never make it if you try to do all of those things. But I was fascinated with all of those things. And they said, which do you want to do? And I said, I want to do them all. And I feel like for the first time in history, we're finally at the point where being a hyphenate is actually a positive
Renaissance
as
man.
opposed to being a negative.
Oh, that's so encouraging.
And to me, the 15 different roads that I've been on are the parts that make up who I am today.
Right. Yeah, they've all led you here.
And do they inform each other, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. There's not a day that I don't use all of those parts of me as opposed to being just one
One thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So speaking of that, can you give us a little bit of information, a little blurb about who you are, what you do?
Well, what I do, I grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania. My family moved to California when I was 12. I went to high school here, went to Fairfax High School, stumbled into the auditorium one day, taking a shortcut to get to the basketball gym. And they stopped me and said, hey, audition for the play. And I said, okay, and discovered that I had a talent that I never knew I had.
What show was it? Do you remember?
The show was...
Come on, I'm in.
I was just gonna
The show
ask
was
you.
The Matchmaker, the stage version of Hello, Dolly.
Stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
They were like,
my
you're
gosh.
right for this.
They were right for this. So I auditioned for the play and found out I had this gift, and I never made it back to the gym after that. I stayed in the auditorium.
That's my excuse. That's my excuse too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever at the gym?
No.
I didn't think so.
So because my school was in Hollywood, agents and casting directors would come to our shows. So agents came and agents signed me, and I never turned back. And I started working as an actor. And then the honest truth is I had too much opinion about how things should go.
I like that.
So I would complain to my friends, the director took half an hour to figure out how to set up this shot, and all he had to do was this and this.
Big
And they
picture.
said, well, why don't you either shut up
Right.
and do your job or direct?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So I started directing, and then I started writing, and then I used my musical skills and became a composer. And then I stumbled into casting, and I worked in commercial casting for 12 years at
Wow.
the largest commercial casting company in town. And then I left there and I went to an ad agency and I worked there. And then all of those things informed me about this business of auditioning and trying to get work. And I started sharing philosophies that I had learned from being on all sides of the camera. And the people I shared it with started booking like crazy. So then people started saying, Stuart K. Robinson has a secret. So people started inviting me to dinner left and right. And that led to opening my school, Robinson Creative, which I thought was just going to be working with individuals. And it became this huge thing for many, many years. And I'm so grateful. So many actors have, every month someone calls me and says, I bought a house because of you.
That's awesome.
And it's not because of me. It's because of the truths that I learned and passed on to them, and they put them to use
and here they are.
achieve their dream.
That is amazing. So what inspired you to start doing your own school, essentially? And then also, you're a motivational speaker. What inspired you to start doing that?
Well, I'll answer your question backwards.
Okay.
What I found was that most of my classes were less about traditional acting techniques and more about helping people understand what their gift is and to believe in themselves and to really put themselves out there. So much of the class was that, really helping people find better lives, that it made sense. And then I found that my classes were more and more people who weren't trying to be actors, lawyers and doctors and newscasters and business executives and people like that, because they just needed
To realize themselves.
to realize themselves. So then companies started to call me and say, hey, will you come in and work with our people? And
Wow.
so I would go into companies and say, you're not trying. Come on, do what you do.
Yeah.
And they, like, I still don't understand it to this day, because now when I speak, it's a weird thing that happens. There's an energy in the room, like you feel it going like that, and people are like, and they don't know why.
Realization of like all of the things.
Exactly. And then like the promoters are saying, let's get security to get him to his car. I'm not
Oh my
like
gosh.
a celebrity, but at the moment,
The blazer.
it's the blazer, it is. People are like that, and they just want to, I have a question.
Yeah.
So that's
Do you
how
feel
that-
like with that energy, I know a lot of people feel like when you have that kind of energy, people are drawn to that, right?
Oh,
They just need to like, what do you have? How can
Oh,
we?
yeah.
They just want to touch
they
you.
don't know
and get
why.
some,
Yeah.
right?
It's just like, oh, let me touch you.
I feel like
And
that's
is-
what I feel like sitting right
And
here.
is that so advice you can pass down to actors? Is it intention? Is it,
It's just belief.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about this story before, and I want you to elaborate to our audience. Going back to that feeling of resonance, and you were saying just you're not trying. Can you share about the story about your son-in-law, Leslie Odom Jr., the fantastic performer, and about your conversations with him about how to turn around his...
Yeah, Leslie is one of the most talented people I've ever met, and married to my daughter, who is the most talented person I've ever met. But he came to me early in their marriage and said, I need to tell you that I want to quit this business because of the ups and downs and because of the emotional highs and lows and because he wanted to start a family and he didn't know if there was work tomorrow or work the next day. So he wanted my advice on what to do if he was going to quit this business. And I said, yes, if you want to quit, I'll support whatever you want to do. But before you do, I'd love to see you really try. And of course, any performer you talk to, he couldn't resist being a little offended.
Right.
I did
We try
Rent
every
on
day.
Broadway and I've done this and I've done
who
that.
do you think?
And I said, but I told him, I said, it's not about what the credits you've achieved. Are you really trying? You're great when you get an audition, when someone comes to you, when you have a meeting, when you have a job, etc. You're great at delivering. But what do you do in between? How did you contribute to your own success today? Who did you call? What did you read? What class did you take? He's one of the great singers of our time. I said, you're not even singing. You're waiting for someone to call you and pay you to sing? Go out there and sing. And one person will lead to the next and the next and the next and the next. You got to really try. So we call it not trying harder, because I know how hard everybody tries. Everybody so wants to win, etc. It's not trying harder. It's trying better. It's trying more fully. It's bringing more of what you do. We talked earlier about all these different paths that I've been on.
Yeah.
Well, what good is that if when I come to the room or I come to the camera or I come to the session, whatever it is, I'm not really bringing all of that?
Right.
And what good is all that if when I'm not hired, I'm waiting? I'm just waiting for it to come to me. I'm dealing with what comes to me. Because what's going to come to you in this town where there's hundreds of thousands of people with a dream?
Right. A lot of debt. That's what it come to you.
debt.
A lot of debt.
A lot of headshots.
A lot of headshots. Along those lines, you were an actor, you performed. How do you go from that to being the CEO of one of the biggest talent agencies in the US or in the globally, really?
The answer to that is, and it took me most of my life to figure it out, that people would ask me what I do. And I wanted to say, I'm an actor, director, writer, businessman, etc. And finally I realized that that's not what I do. So the key for all of us, I believe, is to really figure out what it is that you do. Not what job you have, what title you have, what car you drive, how much money is in the bank. What is it you do? And it took me forever to figure out that what I do is inspire people. Whether I'm acting, or I'm writing books, or I'm composing music, or I'm singing, or I'm in a business meeting, or I'm at a board meeting, casting, directing, whatever it is, my goal is very simply to make sure that I remember what it is that I do. If I can inspire you right now, then I'm in line with what I do. If I'm trying to be an expert, I'm a CEO of a company, and blah, 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 then that's when it all starts to go downhill. So at every moment, if I had an acting audition today, I just want to go in that room and inspire the people in there.
Yeah.
Leslie, my son-in-law, he wants to host,
Oh.
but not host like a talk show. I mean, host you in this world. And if you came to his home, he'd make sure you felt welcome and you were well fed and you were entertained, etc. When he's doing music, he just wants to host the audience, etc. So he found what he does.
Got it.
What do you do?
Well, I was literally just thinking about that. I'm like, I motivate people. I can't tell you how many people I've been told by, like, oh my gosh, Burgandi, you leave the room and I have so much energy. I feel like I can do anything. And right now I was like, I'm a motivator. I really did feel that. I was like, I'm a motivator. So, wow, I just feel like we have so many things that we want to cover with you. Everybody, just so you know, this is A of B, meaning it's a 2-part episode that we're going to have with Stuart K. Robinson, because there's like a wealth of information here.
So many
we can't get it
we
all in
know
one episode. Yeah, so as always, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, ask us questions that we would love to follow up with Stuart about. If you love what we're wearing, because we're all very fashionable, put that in the comments too.
Okay.
Thank you so much again for showing up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you later.